joining us remotely as well.
This meeting is being recorded.
Call to order the St. Lawrence County Industrial Development Agency. Roll call.
Mr. Staples,
Here.
Mr. LaBeouf,
Here.
Mr. Blevins, Mr. Hall,
Here.
Mr. Morrow,
Here.
Mr. McMahon,
Here.
Mr. Reagan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Public notice published June 30, 2022. Public comment? Do we have anything from Andy?
No, nothing. Thank you.
Okay. No public comment. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? May 19th,
moved.
2022?
Second.
It has been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? There being none, it passes unanimously. Financial report for May 2022 and June 2022. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Move.
Second.
Discussion?
It's actually April and May, not May and June. Sorry about that. We received building revenues, revenue from the county, some project revenue, interest income, had some building expenses. We had some workshop expenses and marketing for April. May was pretty much the same. We are investing in treasuries now. So we have in the financials, you'll see if there's a line item where as the treasuries are bought and sold, we're provided information from NBT that's in there as well. And our earnings are going up as interest rates are going up, but pretty normal months.
So we instruct them and then to do it with the treasuries and then they do it directly with the treasuries.
Correct. Yep. They give us a host of options based on timing. You know, it's similar to CDs, 6 months, 3 months, 90 days. 90 days, 3 months, you know, whatever looks better, we go with.
The financial report has been moved and seconded and presented. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously. Committee reports. Nominating committee, Mr. LaBeouf.
The nominating committee consists of Ernie LaBeouf, Mark Hall, and James Reagan. And after numerous telephone calls and meetings late into the night, we've decided to recommend the following. Brian W. Staples, chairman, Ernest LaBeouf, vice chairman, Lynn Blevins, secretary. Being no other nomination from the floor, I move these candidates be elected.
Second.
Vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you.
We also recommend
There we go.
that Pat Kelly be remained as chief executive officer, Kim Gilbert, the chief financial officer, and the law firm of Silver and Collins remain our general counsel, and so move that you accept these recommendations.
Sure.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Passes unanimously.
I'd like to thank my committee for all the hard work you put in.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr.
Kudos.
Staff report. Patrick?
As you just did your appointment of officers, this is the annual meeting. Typically, the annual meeting is in June. We've held it in July before scheduling reasons. So this is the annual meeting, and this would be the 51st year of the IDA since it was formed in 1971, just as a timing note of interest.
Do we have any board member here that was on 51 years ago?
Yes, you do.
It wasn't Steve, it wasn't Mark. I'm trying. So yeah, there's been a lot of years, a lot of activity, a lot of accomplishments, a lot of ups and downs. But yeah, Ernie, the original formation, there was not a lot of activity the first few years, but I think in the mid-70s, things really started getting busy.
Well, actually, it was 1974 when I was put on it as a legislator, and I asked all of those on that board to retire, and then I nominated the new board in 1974, And some were Republicans and some were Democrats, and we had a hell of a good time. And since that date, the IDA has been the leading job creator and protector in St. Lawrence County.
Well put, Ernie. Thank you. Some properties update. Our Governor Industrial Park property sale agreement is still moving forward. They're in their due diligence period where they're working on getting permitting for the property that they're seeking to acquire. The DRI, we presented a project proposal for the transformation of the former Messina School of Business into some courtyard and transitional space. That was recommended by the DRI committee to be, the process is you make a series of recommendations as part of your plan to New York State, and then the state determines.
Which area is this Messina?
This is the downtown corridor of Messina. Yep.
They're focusing on, I don't know how familiar you are with Messina, but the Main Street Bridge going south, that first block or 2 blocks, that's what they're focusing on.
Okay.
Redoing.
Yep.
And Patrick is working with the mayor closely on that, so it's going well, and it's keeping me out of it, which is even better.
Is this federal or state money or?
State, New York State. Yep, the Messina was a
Robert, I can't
recipient of
talk,
the
I'm on a
downtown revitalization initiative, the DRI program.
That's the
I
10
can't
million.
talk, I'm on a teleconference.
Potsdam has a DRI as well, Patrick, correct?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes.
Potsdam has a DRI as well.
Yes,
Where
yep.
in their
They received it before Messina, so they're a little further along. They're in the action stage of some of the projects that were awarded.
were you involved in that? Because
We were in Potsdam, we were a non-voting member of the DRI committee. In Messina, I'm co-chair of the committee, so we certainly had more involvement in the Messina one.
I know that for the benefit of the board, everybody, both Republicans and Democrats, are very appreciative of the work Patrick has done for Messina on this. It's professionalism, background, work with the Economic Development Council, and everything kind of plays into, you know, who he knows and what projects will get approved, and it's been a great blessing is an overstatement, but it's fortunate for Messina that you've been able to put the time in.
Well, the mayor and I are co-chairs, and really the mayor has been the primary lead, as he should be with his knowledge and role. But it's been a really good process, and there are some exciting projects that I think really are going to be transformative and make that corridor a really attractive and impressive part of the landscape. So and there'll be more awards, hopefully more of these initiatives out there for more communities to seek. The Restore New York program, which is not the same as the DRI, but as an example, we just received a notification from New York State that they are doing a webinar that we'll participate in on the Restore program. And it looks like the communities, based on population and size in St. Lawrence County, will be eligible to apply for up to $2 million for specific projects like the Newell building that we did. So that was something that the New York State Economic Development Council really pushed, was that Restore program is a very good program if you're trying to rebuild facilities and reset the asset base for attracting business in your communities. Speaking of some properties, we're having some minor roof repair work done on this building. There was as you'll see it on the outside, there's a chimney that's a little tilted. It doesn't connect to anything. It was part of the old brewery operation. We're having that capped, some shingle work and some cap work along the peak of the roof. If you come here one time and you see people working, that's what's going on. Still doing next stage work within the Newell building, having some discussions, showing prospects, still working on the 1912 space, trying to get it to being ready for occupancy. Back in the flow of marketing, we had Brian and Bob were in Washington, DC last week at the Select USA show, which is a nice return to form. We haven't been there obviously in a couple of years. We had presence at a Montreal manufacturing and technology show a little bit before that. We've got some shows planned for the fall. So getting closer back to normal, promoting, getting out there, getting some visibility with potential prospect companies. We're doing some work with alumni events. We had a booth in the park with the chamber here in Canton for the St. Lawrence University reunion. We're doing brochure distribution for SUNY Canton. We're part of the Messina and Potsdam mega reunions, trying to get the word out to people who are visiting or returning to the area about the opportunities to move back here. And we'll be doing stuff at the Potsdam Summerfest and as well as with Clarkson and SUNY Potsdam for their alumni weekends.
Patrick, we're getting back to normal, which is good. Are most of the businesses in the county getting back to normal also? Or?
Yes, I mean, most of the businesses are adapting to, I think, the normal.
The new normal?
I don't want to say the new normal. I want to say very specifically the normal around workforce development and attraction. I mean, that is still everybody we talk with, workforce, and that's everywhere. I mean, that is a national new normal. Our unemployment rate right now is 3.4%, this was May's numbers. New York State's was 4.1. The national rate was 3.4. So our streak of being under the states, and part of that is, you know, there's been growth and activity. Part of it is people aren't in the workforce, and that's the what people adapting to, you know, hand washing stations and distancing. You know, that's pretty well what needed to be incorporated. You know, has been as an immediate reaction to the pandemic, but now the lingering. People have different shopping patterns, people have different entertainment patterns, and certainly the workforce is a different.
But we don't have businesses kind of waiting any longer to get back into the flow.
Oh, I think there is a lot of uncertainty in the business world right now between inflation, between global events, the workforce, and uncertainty is not a strong tailwind for investment. So I think we're dealing with that. I mean, that is, it'll be an interesting couple of years ahead of us, you know, and I think that's for everybody. I don't mean specifically St. Lawrence County, but.
How much is the workforce, the number of people participating in the workforce declined since before the pandemic?
Let me get you a specific number. The workforce number right now, the employed number is 42,300 in the county. That's up from 41,900 in 2020. And so I'm sorry, it's up from 40,900 in 2021, which was great, really, when you were feeling the impact. You know, a good number to get you, which we can, give me 5-10 minutes, would be probably January, February of 20 to see where that number was at. We were back to pre-pandemic levels 6 or 7 months, I mean, a while ago. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's dramatically different, but let me get you the exact numbers.
Because you and your staff did a great job during the pandemic of helping a lot of our companies get permission to continue operating. You know, when the state initially was closing down a lot of companies, the IDA staff got them exemptions so that they could continue operating.
Yeah, and the impact here, you know, I talk about how our level is lower than New York State's. You know, you see the state is still lagging where it was as compared to us. And part of it is we didn't have those, you know, as you just pointed out, you know, we didn't have the larger shutdowns, and we don't have the same kind of, say, retail and tourism economies that were really hammered mean, ours were hammered, but it isn't the same numbers as, say, other parts of the state saw. And that said, I still think there isn't, you'll understand why I say this in a second. I think, to your question, to adjust and best prepare for what has happened and what the future is, the businesses certainly still are in need of resources. So things like the ARPA funding, you gotta be careful not to say, oh, geez, the impact, we're back to normal, because I don't think we are, but I think there's been so much adjustment and probably to strengthen and solidify the economy, more work is certainly needed.
And I think a big part of that has got to be finding ways to convince the Canadians to come back. I was reading the Buffalo News this morning, and they're saying traffic is half of what it used to be, and I'm sure it's the same over here because a lot of Canadians don't want to use that Arrive Can pass, and I think a lot of the retailers and restaurants and other tourism-related businesses are suffering from the lack of Canadians coming over.
And those are the sectors that were hit the hardest. When you eliminate travel and you eliminate entertainment outside of the home, essentially, that's where you're going to feel that impact. And
Were we involved in PPP loans or other early on support projects?
oh yeah, yeah. Well, when the pandemic first hit, what we did is we took a listing of about 600 business entities that we had at our disposal, divided it up amongst the staff, and while everybody was remote, assigned essentially a portfolio to each staff member and said, reach out to people and make sure they're aware of these programs and how to access them. And we partnered with the chamber on a series of webinars that they put on. We did radio ads. I mean, there was, some entities created their own programs. I think our view at the time was there was going to be significant state and federal programs, and we worked and created a regional emergency loan fund, and then worked to get that information in front of people as directly as we could. Because there was, I called it then, and I'll say it now, it was cutting through the clutter, because you had newspaper articles, you had stuff all over the internet, you had webinars everywhere, and it was almost information overload. And I wanted to leverage our contacts so we could call businesses that either we had projects with or certainly better familiarity than maybe anybody else had, and said, are you talking to your bank? Are you aware of the EIDL program? And I think that was the second level of interaction. The first was, as Jim pointed out, remember, there was a time where the state was saying, if you're not trying to think of what the phrase, essential business, you have to shut down.
And we kept Alcoa and another.
I mean, there were, helping them understand what that meant and how to qualify, and, because there are some operations where it's not so easy to send everybody home on Friday and then ever start back up. And we were mindful of making sure that, that they understood the guidance, they understood safety protocols, and we weren't experts in here's how you do a safe work space. What we were was a conduit to places like SciTech and New York State guidance and CDC, where you could say, okay, here's how you can adjust your work area so people can keep coming in.
Are we doing anything looking forward? Because I'm afraid the inflation, the price of fuel is gonna devastate our businesses more than the pandemic did. I don't know what's happening to farmers, but
It's just,
it's
the
outrageous.
expenses are just devastating, right from your farm credit loan to your diesel pricing. But I'll say the labor problem is becoming this big issue too. There's just nobody to hire. used to have people stop
Here,
stop and look for jobs, and you put an ad in and you'd get 4 or 5 responses. There's 0. There's nobody hired.
I'm gonna take a quick segue because that's a great point. One of the things we are doing is Lori, and we've talked about this isn't, unknown to people, I don't think, but we are transitioning Lori's position from administrative services coordinator to workforce development coordinator. Lori had a background, you worked for Penske for
14 years.
So we are trying to dig deeper into the workforce provision, in part, this is answering both of what you're saying. Everything we do is based on relationships with employers. And every conversation we have is based on trying to understand where they are and looking forward. So the answer to your, yes, we are trying to do things. We are integrating, I think, the ARPA assistance from the county into how do you best prepare for what's coming. From a workforce perspective, there is an entire workforce system. There's the one-stop system, the Workforce Investment Opportunity Act, WIOA. You got all the service providers there. What I think we bring is better than anybody, direct relationships with the businesses and a more on the ground understanding of what the needs are and the challenges finding people.
But just let me remind you one thing. To be an employer, you have to have employees.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Lori, give a quick summary of a few of the things that you've been doing.
Sure.
And we'll show you how we're trying to dig deeper because you're not getting 5 answers to your ads anymore. And we know that.
No.
Yeah, well, first of all, we're utilizing our page on our website to showcase the jobs that are available in St. Lawrence County, connecting with employers to find out what their available positions are, so we can help them to recruit those position openings. But also, we recently connected with one of the local high schools to work with their students and doing like a survey to find out who's going to be looking for employment after graduation, whether it be short-term employment for summer to get them through until college starts or military, whatever, but also long-term, and connecting with them with employers with job openings right now, find out what their interests are, and basically talking with them personally. They've given us permission to contact them individually. And so we're trying to make that connection with employers. So, and also going out onto Fort Drum, we're connecting more with the Fort Drum military base, attending job fairs and recruitment events there as well, and introducing them to St. Lawrence County, to our businesses here. And we'll be working more with the chamber and trying to bring them to St. Lawrence County while they're stationed at Fort Drum. So there's quite a bit going on. We'd like to get more involved with the colleges, more involved with the high schools. We're very involved with BOCES right now, all 3 tech centers. We actually did an event at all 3 tech centers where we brought employers in to see what the programs are that are available. So, and connecting those employers with BOCES so that they can offer internship programs and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Does Fort Drum do anything with spouses?
Yes,
Okay.
actually, there's a new program that's starting up, a new chapter that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce actually is like to start there. So we're going to be a part of that as well with military spouses and trying to get them acclimated in the communities and get them employment opportunities as well. So St. Lawrence County has a presence with that too.
Yeah.
So.
I think we have much more of a presence with Fort Drum in the last 6 or 8 months than
Oh,
we've had in the
absolutely.
past.
Yep.
3 of us at lunch with General Beagle, and he was very concerned about the involvement of the troops with the counties and communities around, and people that were retiring and where they may be. So with John, we have a pretty good liaison operation with him.
And we used to talk about these alumni events as ways of trying to find people to bring their businesses back, and now it's, if you want to move back here and work, it doesn't have to, you don't have to bring a machine shop with you.
Correct.
We can place you in a machine shop or anywhere, any business. So we're doing some reorganizing within roles within the staff to free up Lori to have more time to focus on these things, but it's, and again, what I want to highlight is it's not a St. Lawrence County issue. It's a national issue. You know, it is certainly I don't want the message being, well, you can't find workers in St. Lawrence County. The message is it's tough to find workers anywhere. We're trying as hard or harder than anybody else to be part of the solution.
And I think the, as we move forward with the ARPA funding that we're working with the county on, you know, we'll be able to target some of the money to help
Yeah,
bring in our neighbors to the north from Canada to help spur some of the restaurants, the hotels, the stores and others. And that'll also help the county by helping them increase their sales taxes and help improve their businesses.
yeah, I mean, the ARPA recommendations, we have a significant amount for tourism, travel, hospitality, as the guidelines spell out for the ARPA funding. A lot for training as well, with the idea of, you know, these career ladders, finding ways to get people either upskilled or skilled into positions. So hopefully it all works toward a breakthrough. Last, three quick things. Speaking of getting back to normal, regular meeting schedule. It's nice that we can meet as needed, but I think for planning purposes, it'd be nice if we were able to get back to a, fourth Thursday of every month kind of. Is there, anybody have a particular day? Would something like that work? And if we don't need to meet, we don't need to meet, but at least something people can put on calendars. Is there a day of the week, or if you want, get to us, I don't need it now, but be thinking if you can provide us something where we can bank on participation. One of the things we need now is a quorum in person. So we need 4 people in person in order to still do remote for the other 3 if 3 aren't able to be here. So that's a planning consideration. Lori will be sending a link to the ethics training video. It's as a refresher. There are local and state videos about ethics. We'll send it to you, and then if you can watch that, it's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then a certification form that you've watched it. And then the last thing is, Mr. McMahon, your appointment is up. You've expressed an interest in serving another term per the county's protocol. They ask for the board to recommend.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
2 seconds.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Rides in on a seahorse of enthusiasm. So that is it for your staff
It
report.
passes unanimously. Anything else?
Nope.
Old business is being done, new business, resolution project authorizing resolution, Alcoa track rehabilitation, grade crossing and safety improvements. Do I hear a motion?
I would like to make that.
Don't move.
Moved by Andy, seconded by Ernie. Discussion.
So you're aware we had received approval for an application we sent to the Department of Transportation. That project is moving forward. We need a resolution formalizing that you're okay with us going forward with the project. Like I said, this is about 6 months ago, we received.
It's essentially been approved. We're just
Yes,
adding
it's
our.
a technicality that you're, yeah.
Yeah, it's a technicality. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
On that?
Passes unanimously. Is there a need for an executive session?
There is not.
Do I hear a motion? To adjourn?
So move
Done.
to adjourn.
So we will move to the IDA LDC.